at rest. I am my Savior, am happy and blessed, watching and waiting, looking above, filled with His goodness, lost in His love. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Praising my Savior all the day long.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We are here today. We thank God for bringing us here. It's another day of Your Story Matter. I know that there's a lot of things that has been happening in the world today, and people sometimes don't really think that your story is really important. People sometimes don't realize that God has been really doing a lot in their life. And so today I have a very special guest. Last week we had the first part of this topic, this episode, and it was fantastic. We had Pastor Sean last week, and this week I have a very wonderful, passionate, God-fearing, hard-working woman in ministry, Dennalia Fray. This is someone that I've met for just a short period of time, but I know that she have some power burning in her life that I don't know how she got it. I don't know where she got it from, but we are gonna find out a bit more about it today. So stay right here with me on What's the Point show on trinityradio.ca. We are here to share what God has really been doing in our entire life. And I know that you will definitely experience and get some blessings out of what we are going to talk about today. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to introduce my wonderful guest here today. So, hey, D. I know that a lot of people want to really see you. People want to know, like, hey, who is this person? But I'm gonna show you off on the screen. Tell us who you are a bit more. Like, who are you? Who are you?
So, hello everyone. My name is Dennalia Fray. I am 18 years old, freshman at Berman University, currently studying secondary education with a major in social studies and a minor in math.
Mm.
Just someone who's very passionate about creating spaces that promote people's growth instead of stunting it, creating spaces that open conversations can happen. So, I'm really excited for today. I'm excited for the conversation.
Okay. I am very curious and surprised. I don't, it's crazy how I am just assuming that you are older than me. It's crazy. I'm joking. But 18 years, wow, that's wonderful. I'm sure that all those who are 18 years and below and above would can relate to you today. That's very encouraging. In fact, you would not see a lot of people at your age in ministry and like having that fire or zeal to sort of be close to God and do something for humanity, support people, friends, and everyone in your life. And so I am very blessed to have you here. I'm already excited. Let's get into it. But before we do that, I just want to give some few hello to some people. Thank you so much for all of you who have been joining us for our program What's the Point? It has been a blessing, and we are so grateful for all of you. In fact, with your responses, comments, with your suggestions, and the things that you have been sharing with us. We are so grateful and thank you so much for those moments. And as we are talking about your story matter, we know that there are so many things that you have been experiencing in your life that we want you to know that your story is important and it needs to be heard by some people who can be motivated, who can be changed. And we also want to find out how your story even matter, who made it important, and why should it be shared or heard by other people? And so thank you for joining us. This is trainingradio.ca on our show, What's the Point? And today's topic is Your Story Matter Session 2. And I know that you're going to be blessed. You are listening to us from the studios of Training Radio virtually, actually, for this time, but we are located in Brampton, Ontario, and we are always willing to let you know that Jesus loves you more than any other personal being in this world. So let me get into this question quick before I get more excited and over confused. Dennalia, tell me more. Like, who are you? Who are you? I know we've asked a question about like just trying to understand who you are, but I want to get a little bit deeper. Like, where have you been? Who are you?
So I was born in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to
Hey,
England.
wagwan.
I moved to England when I was 2. I was there for about 9 years, and then now we're in Canada. So that's where I started off generally. Family, my dad's a pastor, so I'm a PK. So shout
Okay,
out to all
okay,
PKs
okay,
out there.
okay.
Uh,
Where does your dad pastor? What church?
so currently we're in the Ontario conference, and he pastors the Guelph and Milton SDA churches.
Okay, okay, wonderful, amazing. Oh, shout out to Daddy for now.
Shout out to Papa Fray. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. So you were born in Jamaica, you moved to England, and
Yes.
then you are in Ontario,
Yes.
Canada. All right, that's where we have you here. We love our Canadian people out here. So welcome to the country. All of us are immigrants, and we are trying to make a difference in the country. You know, support people here and encourage people here in whatever they're doing. So I know that you have kind of probably had that transition. Some people would say, "Oh, pastor's kid always move a lot," and sometimes it scares me a bit, but I'm ready for it. I think different places brings different experience.
For
And
sure.
so that is definitely a great thing that we can always think about. So getting deeper into where you have been, like where did you start your life as a young person? Was it great? Was it hard? Was it controversial? How did you start it?
So started off great. And it's not like things are going bad. Like everything's just been good. I have been blessed, truly, truly blessed with 2 parents who completely support me, parents who love me, parents who show me an example of what love looks like, what loving God looks like. So I've been blessed in that aspect for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was when I started to get a bit older that I really understood what the whole PK thing was. It was just kind of, okay, my dad's a pastor and I'm his daughter, but there's a very negative stereotype when it comes to PKs that they do rebel. There's a standard that they are expected to uphold, and then when they don't, it can cause a lot of tension, identity stressors, just a lot of factors. But in terms of going a bit deeper, when I was in England, I had a bit of a tough experience. I was bullied for quite a few years. It was pretty bad. Definitely, there's one line that I always remember, and someone told me to pack my bags and go back to Jamaica.
Wow.
And I think one of the hardest things about it was that it was coming from another Black person, someone I thought would have been, riding for me, someone who'd be supporting me throughout the process. But it was a complete opposite, which was a hard experience for me to go through. It was hard because I was struggling to figure out who I was necessarily within the church, within being a PK, and then also having to figure that out in terms of school was another factor. I'm very thankful for both experiences. Obviously, in the moment, I wasn't, it was hard, but I'm thankful for both experiences because they caused me to seek out God for myself.
Wow.
For those people who grow up in the church, I don't necessarily want to say that it is forced on them, but inevitably they end up going to church and end up praising God, singing certain songs, but oftentimes they don't understand why. So I realized that my faith, my relationship with God had become dependent on my parents, which I think a lot of people have, but they don't realize, and they don't realize how damaging it can be. Because let's say your relationship with God is dependent on a parent, a sibling, a cousin. What happens when their faith is tested? Or what happens when they decide to leave the church? Then that connector is gone. So getting to a point where I wanted to understand, why am I going to church? And then the other question is, why am I going to church on the Sabbath?
Wow.
Why why is it that all of these people are praising God, lifting up his name in such a way? What has he done for them? What
Mhm.
has he done for me? What is he doing for me? And what will he do for me? So that was a question that I really had to seek him and ask him for answers. And when I got those answers, it was pretty powerful.
Wow, wow. So you literally spoke to God and you wanted an answer and he gave you an answer. So that's
Uh,
that's encouraging.
yeah, it took a while to get the answer.
Okay.
I know I've definitely fallen into the trap of asking, but not taking that break to actually listen, to
Yeah.
truly, truly listen. And it wasn't until recently, like literally the last few weeks, that I
Wow.
actually received a more clear answer.
Wow.
And I've been asking for it. I've been struggling. Like my experience in England really messed up my self confidence, messed up
Wow.
the way that I saw myself, the way that I saw others, the way that I saw the world. It just messed up everything. But now I can say that I'm getting to a point where I can feel myself changing. I can feel
Mm,
myself growing.
mm.
And there's a word that I like that um, Danielle from Berman, I believe she
Okay.
puts it on one of her shirts, and it's Godfidence. And the way
Mm,
that I love that, because it's more than me just having confidence in myself, but having confidence in the one that created me.
wow.
And it's hard, definitely. I struggle to give up control to him fully at
Mm.
times. But after a good amount of years, almost 8 to 10 years, he's come through and he's been giving me some direction.
Wow. 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 First of all, sorry about your bullying experience in UK. I am sorry that you had that experience, but I'm grateful that you have, gradually grew
Yeah,
out of it. So that's a praise to God right there. And shout out to Danielle, Rock Your Fate merchandise for giving out that word to motivate
yeah,
you as well. Yeah. So you had been experiencing some waiting moments, and I know waiting moments are the most toughest time in life. And in
yes.
fact, being a young person and being a young Christian, whilst you have been praying to God and asking God to answer some of your prayers, how did you dealt with the waiting moments?
I had to realize that being a youth in this generation specifically is different.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I look to, for example, my parents or my grandparents and their generation, they grew up in a world that wasn't necessarily instant.
Mm-hmm.
They had to wait for things. But because I've grown up in a world where everything's been instant, you send a text instantly, you can get a response, call, everything's just instant. You want food, it's coming.
Wow.
So I had to learn from other people how to wait. And what did waiting mean? Did waiting mean just not doing anything until I get an answer for what I want? Or is waiting about being proactive? Is it about actively seeking God and actively making sure that relationship I have with him is stable and secure?
Hmm. So you're saying that waiting doesn't mean sleeping 24/7, but constantly communicating with God while you wait. That's
Yes.
that's so deep. I need a quote from that. I need a quote from that moment. Thank you so much for sharing that so far. I love it. I love your passion and how you're bringing this so home to all of us. Like, I know many young people out there, even those who are not pastors' kids, are facing that kind of pressure and that kind of toughness in their waiting moments. And so,
Mhm.
if you're listening to us right now, if you have a family member or a friend who has been facing tough times and they don't know how to deal with it, Dennalia is sharing her experience, and she is saying, whilst you are waiting on God, you got to still keep in contact with Him, because waiting is not just sleeping; it's more of staying in connection with God. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that part of your experience. I have a personal question for you. Maybe you're not ready for this, but I'm gonna ask you. So, have you really been pressured on the aspect of friends to do things that you really didn't want to do whilst you are facing all these tough times in your life? Like, did you have any peer pressure in terms of your struggles in these times when you are trying to wait on God?
I would say that peer pressure was definitely around me, but I don't necessarily think it affected me too much. The reason that I want to say that is, again, big kudos, shout out to my parents. My parents have, they've always given me answers.
Mm,
So oftentimes what happens in a lot of relationships with parents and children is it's like children will ask something and it's either a yes or a no. My parents have been very willing and open to have conversations with me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person that can be very reactive. So oftentimes when things don't go my way, when I don't like how some things happen, I tend to shut down, like literally just go quiet, don't want to talk to anyone. So if I've gone through that phase and I'm able to come to my parents and say, I would love to have an explanation. Why did this happen? Why did things happen the way it happened? It has given me a deeper perspective of some things. So my parents have obviously told me not to do certain things, but they haven't just said, don't do it,
Mm.
just don't do it, but because of a reason. For example, don't they were very very serious about me not getting into a relationship too early because they wanted me to make sure that I understood what a relationship meant, what the purpose of it was, instead of just doing it because everyone else was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I saw what people around me were doing, I also was able to see the consequences and what happened after the fact. So it wasn't just that, oh, I want to be a part of them, but do I want to be a part of this group? Do I want to be a part of this friendship
Mm-hmm.
if it's not going to benefit the both of us? If I'm going to enter into a situation, into a relationship, into a friendship, it has to be one where we can grow from each other.
Right.
We're encouraging each other, we're supporting one another.
Mm.
And whenever I saw that something was off, I just ended up staying away from it.
Wow. Wow. I don't believe that you're 18 years, Dennalia. We will discuss that later on, but you are actually sharing some great points. I don't know how to define them or put them in some context, but I'm so grateful for your brain and how you're so clear and open with, your experience and like, wow. I know some parents are listening to us right now. Please spend time teaching your children what it means not to do something. Give them reasons. Just don't say no, because sometimes some no is not really enough to not take some actions. And so we should make that moment and spend those times with our children. But I'm very grateful that your parents created that space for you. And I know that some people might not have those parents at home, but
Mhm.
yet still you need to try to figure some things out, and that's why you're listening to this program today. Maybe your parents are not there in those situations to support you. Try your very best to make friends like Denelia, and they will show you how to deal with a situation like this. So I'm gonna take this question on you before we take a short break. What specific events in your life or factors that brought positive change in your personal life?
One of the weird, this is the one that always pops into my head. Whenever I say, people always look at me like I'm crazy. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a positive thing, but it led to positive things.
Life. I
So,
really want to hear about that, so we can uh, go ahead.
so I broke my ankle when I was in grade 9. And even though in the moment I was upset, I was angry, I was sad that I couldn't continue playing the sport I love, it is one of the best things that has happened to me because it made room in my life, made time in my life for God to put me in spaces that He knew I needed to be in. Um, the the beautiful thing is, and I want to connect it to something that you were saying earlier, is we can look at a seed and just see a seed. But sometimes some people can see something in that seed that nobody else can. You
Mm,
may just think it's a regular seed, it's a regular old, whatever. But there's some people, and especially God, who sees that there's something within that. There's something that is housed in that seed that needs to be brought to fruition. And if you stay in a certain space, if you stay in a certain environment, you cannot grow in that space. So, as we're talking about friendships and relationships, you have to look at the people that are surrounding you. Are you in an environment where you are growing, where people are promoting your growth, or are they stunting it? Are they holding you back?
wow.
People will always have an expectation of you. And as soon as you exceed their expectation of you, they will no longer support you.
Wow.
So God will look at you and say, you can go 20 miles, but that person that could be your closest friend could only think that you can go 10 miles. And as soon as you go that 11, they're wondering, they're changing up, their moods switching. But
Mm,
Don't allow yourself to be confined or to be held back by the things that are stunting your growth. So God just had to say, you know what, this had to happen. So now you've got more space in your schedule to meet people, to network, to have opportunities to speak, to have opportunities to minister, to have opportunities to just connect with people. And I'm just so thankful for the opportunity. So, so thankful.
Wow, wow. I think that's really interesting. Negative things becoming positive, just like how, COVID-19 isn't that great experience, but there has been so many positive things that we can so much be grateful for. So I definitely appreciate the fact that that experience that you had, that injury actually kind of put you, and you said something which is really interesting, but someone got a question for you. Um, we were going to take that question, and after you answer that question, we will go on a quick break and come back. Someone is asking, do you think that your life would have been different if you didn't have your dad as being a pastor?
Definitely. It would have been completely different.
Wow.
Um, Definitely because I so with my dad being a pastor and him being able to speak at different places, we've been able to meet so many amazing people. We've been able to travel to different parts of the world. One of my favorite experiences was when we went to Zimbabwe. I will never forget it. It impacted my life in such a beautiful way. And throughout these experiences, they made me who I was. So in the times and the opportunities that my dad was able to speak, he'd always allow me to sing for him. So in me being able to go along with my dad in being a pastor, it also gave me an opportunity to minister with him. And it's honestly beautiful. Like God has made us to be social beings. So it's beautiful to do the thing you love with the people that you love.
Wow.
Watching my dad minister has always been one of my favorite things to do. He's my favorite preacher. I'm fully biased. He's one of my favorite preachers, and just being able to do ministry by his side at different times has been such a blessing, such an opportunity. And also my mom, I haven't been mentioning her a lot. She's one of the most supportive people ever. She's my biggest cheerleader. And just the three of us just working together, it is such a beautiful unit. At
Mm,
times, I wish I had siblings, but our three family unit
mm.
is definitely one that allows us to support one another
Wow.
equally.
Wow, wonderful. Do you sometimes wish you had a sister or a
Yes, yes,
brother?
yes.
Well, we
I'm still
we've
bugging
got
my friends to this day. So if there's anyone who wants a bigger sister, just let me know.
okay,
I'll take you on.
okay. You were saying something. It almost skipped me, but I want to bring it up. So you're saying, so you can sing.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I'm not gonna put you on the spot after the break. You're gonna give us a short song for today. I know that God can use you. So we are gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we are definitely gonna continue what we have for you today. And I know that God has really been blessing you. So stay right here with us, and we'll be right back again.
Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of His Spirit, washed in His blood. This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story. This is my song. Praising my Savior all the day long. Perfect submission, perfect delight, visions of rapture now burst on my sight.
Okay. We are back again. And I know that all of you have been waiting for all of us. We just took a short break, so don't miss us too much. We are back. Thank you so much for waiting for us. We are so excited just to share what we have again for you today. I know that God has been really speaking to you, and I'm excited that you are also with us at this moment. I just want to read some few comments that are coming our way. Someone is saying, "Thank you for sharing your story and your experience, Dennalia, and I am impacted by what you were saying." There's a couple of them that I can take. Someone is saying, "Oh, this is actually a question. How do you balance family life and your personal life?" I think it's probably a struggle for some people. So you're going to talk a bit about that. How do you balance your personal life with your family life? Someone is saying, "I didn't know that people at this young age have had all these experience. I am definitely going to make time for experience." Okay, wow. So you're impacting people out there, but thank you. You want to speak quickly on the question, how do you balance your family life with your own personal life?
So, life in general is about being very intentional and consistent in everything that you do.
Mhm.
So, my family, it's been a tradition for years. We always sit down and have Friday dinner together and Sunday breakfast. Sometimes we aren't able to just because, for example, Vespers, programming, various things, but we always try to make sure that we have that intentional family time. But aside from that, in terms of my life specifically, I am extremely busy. If I were to tell y'all my schedule, it's just kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. So planning, if you do not plan, you are planning to fail.
Mm,
It is very important that you schedule your day and not just schedule the things that you have to do, but schedule the things that you need to do. So, not just your classes, not just work, but schedule time to build on your relationship with God, schedule time to go on a walk, schedule time to work out, self care, anything like that. Over the last month or two, I'd say I've been intentionally going on at least one or two walks a day. Just walking, just clearing my mind, whether I'm talking to someone, just allowing myself to not be just cooped up in the study doing schoolwork.
mhm.
So honestly, just be really intentional, make a schedule. I love making schedules for people. So if anyone wants a schedule, just let me know. But just
Keep it
making sure
good,
that
don't
you're
worry.
specific about your time.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. So I'm going to go on with my question I have for you today. I know that you're super busy and you're still involved in helping people and supporting people. What motivates you in ministry, literally?
So based on different experiences that I've had, some that I've mentioned, I have come out with two mission statements, and I don't think I will ever not live by these two. And the first one is I don't want anyone to ever feel the way that I felt. And two, I want to be the person that I wish I had. So I am working. I started a while ago, but I'm working to be a bit more intentional and consistent on my social media. That's my version of ministry. It's how I do ministry, it's how I reach out to people. And one of the most beautiful things about it is I will just say what's on my heart, say what's on my mind at the time. And people will reach out and say, I needed this in this moment. Or people will say, a friend sent this to me, and this is what I needed now. So, being the person that I wish I had isn't necessarily about reaching out to every one of my friends every single hour, every single day,
Mhm.
but making sure that there are resources available, making sure that they realize that I am there for them if they need me is the most important thing to me. It is very easy to say, hey, I'm here for you if you need me, but are you actually going to be there for the person when they need you?
Right.
Because their need for you is not going to be scheduled. It's
Mhm.
not going to happen between these times when you're free. It's going to be whenever. And if you're going to say that you're available to someone, if you're going to say that you are there for someone, if you're going to say that you are a friend, and honestly, I think the word friend is thrown around a bit too lightly these days.
You're
If you're
right.
going to say that you are a friend to someone, you actively have to be a friend in whichever way that works for you, and also understanding how you are a friend. What works for you? How do you relate to other people?
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, even speaking off of friends, I think it's a thing that a lot of people just say, "You're my friend," and "You're my friend," but they don't literally understand what it means. So I'm excited that you actually mentioned that and you're actually talking about it and saying what it actually means. And I know that with you sharing your experience, and what motivates you in ministry, with you having your own mission statement. I didn't even know that individual people could create their own mission
Yes.
statement, but that's really encouraging that you have your own mission statement, what you really want to accomplish and what you really want to have. So I'm going to ask you this. Do you think that you're perfect?
No, no, far from it. Far, far, far from it. Um, it's there. There's no one who is perfect.
Okay.
There is no one who is perfect, but people that say that things or people are perfect, it's based on perception. Oftentimes, when we look at someone and say, oh, they're so perfect, it's because we're basing it on our own insecurities, our own shortcomings, our own misconceptions. So you have to figure out, what does it mean to you to be perfect?
Right.
If I were to look at myself and say I'm perfect, it's because I'm perfect because I'm actively working on myself. I'm
Mhm.
perfect in this specific area of my life, but I wouldn't even say that. There's no aspect of me that is perfect because I am a work in progress. I am broken. I need to be mended. And I'm actively making sure that I am putting myself in situations where I can be mended and where I can help to mend other people.
Mm, Wow, that's absolutely. I'm glad that you didn't say you're perfect, because I was gonna stop everything I'm doing and I was gonna come to you so that you can help me be perfect, because that's the goal that everyone always want us to always have. So thank you for being open. So now you're saying you're not perfect. So definitely has been some weak moments, tough times. Definitely, we've talked about some of the things that motivate you and keep you going. Could you please share with us any, like, other personal experience where you were down here and then all of a sudden God rescued you and put you here? So if you have any experience like that that you want to share with us quickly.
One of my biggest self confidence issues has always been my acne on my face. Oftentimes people say, oh, I don't see anything. And I'm like, well, I see it. And it's been something that I have allowed to consume me for a very long time. And it's honestly, only up until recently that I've being able to look at myself in the mirror and say to myself that I'm beautiful without requiring somebody else to help me.
Mm,
And to say that it's taken me so long to get to this point is hard to say, but it is also a testament to how I have been actively working on it.
mm.
So, something I'll mention quickly is something that I've recently gotten into, and I don't think I will ever not do it, is definitely fasting and prayer and just making sure that I am making room for God.
Wait,
Fasting,
wait a second. Wait a second. So it's interesting that you're saying this. I heard from someone who is 19 years that fasting is for older people. So you're saying you have been fasting and praying as a young person.
yes.
I'm glad that a person is listening today. Thank you. Go ahead.
Fasting and prayer is for everyone.
Mhm.
But the way that it is often advertised, the way that it is seen is as a ritual and as a spiritual practice, as something you have to do at a certain time for a certain period of time at a certain time of year. And that is not how it is at all. Fasting is not just about not eating food. A lot of people did a fast when everything was going on in the world with the racial injustice that was going on in the US. A lot of people took a break from social media, and that is fasting. You are fasting from something that has consumed you. You're fasting from something that has taken over your mind.
Mm,
So if you feel like there is something that has become an idol in your life, if you feel there is something that is overtaking your life, take a break from it, but not just take a break from it just like for a few hours. Intentionally remove it from your life for a period of time so that God can move into that space. Some people fast from food. I fasted from food for quite a while. I also fasted from TV and social media, making sure that everything that was coming into me was coming through God. Anything that was sent to me, any conversations that I had were intentional conversations, not
mm,
just random willy nilly stuff, but making sure that I could move a part of me, a part of what I've been allowing to take over, a part of me that I've been controlling, and literally handing that over to God.
mm.
Yes, at times I was physically hungry, but I know that for a lot longer I've been spiritually hungry. So allowing God to fill me up, allowing his presence, his spirit to enter into me was very important. And that is when I was really able to hear from him and see his hand moving in my life in a completely different way.
So you're not always trying to get a new shoe or a new Nike or Jordans or a new jacket. You're literally always trying that God will feed you spiritually.
Yes,
Wow.
honestly, yes.
Wow.
I wish I could say I've always been like this, but I haven't.
Yeah.
But just wanting to really hear from him, wanting to let him work through me. And also do not pray the prayer, God work through me, if you do not think you are ready,
Mm.
because that could mean anything.
Wow.
Oftentimes the things that we go through, it is not just for us.
Wow.
Oftentimes the things that we are going through, God is trying to show somebody that he's still God. He's
Mm.
trying to show someone that he's still here. He is still king over all.
Wow.
So if you are ready, if you are in a space where you feel like you are ready to ask God to fully work through you, to use you as a vessel, to use you as his instrument,
Mm.
make sure that you are in a position where you have that consistent relationship with him.
Right.
So that if anything happens, you don't run to social media, you don't run to Twitter, you don't run to just like your best friend,
Mm.
but your first instinct is to fall on your knees and say, God, I feel weak in this moment. I feel broken in this moment. I need you to give me strength.
Wow.
If you're not going to take this from me, give me the strength to be able to make it through. Give me the strength to be able to be a testimony, to be the lesson, the sermon that you want me to be.
Okay, wow, that's so much of a bag that I can't carry, and I'm very thankful that you're sharing all of these because I know a lot of people are listening to this and they're definitely gonna learn something from it. I'm just thinking, sitting here thinking, what if I know you've shared that you're not perfect, and all of us are not perfect. We're all trying and striving, but it seems to me like you're always trying your best to grow and get closer to God and get closer to Him. So I'm just imagining that if every young person in our church from the age of 18 going is dedicated this way, spending more time with God and less time on social media, and just creating a space where they can talk to God like He is their friend, and then they can communicate their struggles to Him. And even if they face struggles, they don't go on social media to seek for resolution. They go to God and seek for resolution. I can't imagine how our little churches would be like. I think it would be fire. I think it would be a place of safety, a hospital for so many other young people who are suffering. And I think that's one thing that we're not doing. So thank you so much for being that one single person that I've known so far who is doing something like that. I'm speaking like I'm 55 years old, but I'm in the same boat with you. We are trying to do the same thing, but I'm very grateful for your experience and what you're sharing with us.
If I may say,
Wow.
it's God speaks to everyone. It doesn't matter what your situation is. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what type of home you came from, what type of home you may be in right now. God is going to speak through you at whatever place you're in, whatever frame of mind, and whatever age, especially. One of the things that I've noticed, I don't know if other people have noticed it, but whenever youth are asked to participate in church services, it's often out of the kindness of their hearts. They're like, oh, we want you to be a part of service, just because. Instead of really seeing that the youth have something, the youth have a perspective, the youth are able to go out into the community in a way that other people are not. But it is also about putting purpose behind everything.
Mm.
If you ask me, as a young person in the church, to come and read scripture reading to the church, why is scripture reading important? Because otherwise I may just go up there and just read it just because you told me to, versus you giving me the text and me seeing how the text can apply to my life, how it can speak to someone else, and how it can be expanded upon. Because then when I go up there, instead of just reading it to read it, I'm reading it in a way that I have understanding and that I want to pass that understanding on to someone else. When you're reading something that you understand, there's a different type of diction and purpose and intentionality that comes out in your voice and your tone. Another example I'd like to use is, for example, if we were to try to reach certain neighborhoods, certain people in different communities, and let's say we wanted to use music. Could you imagine going up to a group of like a gang in a certain community and playing hymns for them? They
Hmm.
would look at you as if you're crazy because that is not how they see the world.
Right.
So that is why things like gospel rap exist. Gospel trap exists because it is God speaking in a way that they are able to understand.
Right.
Right? It's almost like a translator. When you've got two people who speak completely different languages talking to each other, they're both looking at each other confused until that third party comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when we're able to bring people in because we've taken the time to see where they are and find resources that work for them and then bring them into the church. And that is where the true power is.
Mm.
So, yeah.
That's where the true power is. And I understand, just as you say, that if we don't find purpose behind anything, then it can be done perfectly and in the right way. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And thank you for sharing that. So, for those of you who are listening to us right now, Dennalia is going to sing, but I know she have a very special minute song for us. She's going to sing for us. Pretty cool. But before she sings, I'm just going to take a short break and come back. This is going to be really short. So just don't go anywhere. Stay right here with us, probably 30 seconds, and then you will hear my favorite guest here singing a very wonderful song for all of us. So see you soon, and I know that you would not want to miss this special moment. Well, I told you it was going to be short, and so we are back again. Thank you for staying with us. I just have one quick comment to read. Someone is saying I haven't um been having this more time to speak to Dennalia, but she is a wonderful person. I'm guessing this is a person who have met you before. So thank you for your
Oh,
influences.
thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
sure that you're changing lives out there. I know Pastor Sean is also watching this program live. Pastor Sean, I want to give a shout out to you. I remember we had you last week. So Dennalia, you're ready to give us some voices out there. I'm not gonna help you sing because I don't sing, but take it from.
Y'all, when I said that I sing with my dad, as soon as it came out my mouth, I was like, it was a mistake. You used it. Oh dear. So I'm just going to share this song. I pray that it's a blessing. I'm just gonna sing it a cappella.
Okay,
But this song is beautiful because it just literally just reminds us of how great God is. So I'm
take
just
it.
gonna sing two verses and then the chorus.
Sure.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassion, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Summer and winter, both springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above, join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. See, all I have needed, thy hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Ah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was so wonderful. I was like, wow, wow. call this a cappella? I was hearing instruments in your voice. It was so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for singing for us and sharing this great moment with us. I really appreciate all of these. I am so thankful for you. I have a last question for you. What's your advice for all the young people who are listening to you today who don't feel interested to get involved in ministry?
Ministry is not just standing behind a pulpit. Ministry could be just your acts, um, smiling at someone on your walk to work or your walk to school. It could be sharing a post that has ministered to you. It could be singing a song. It could be volunteering at a certain place in your community. Ministry is allowing God to work through you so that you can be a sermon. You're not just preaching a sermon, you're not just speaking, but you are actively being a sermon.
Mm,
Ministry is whatever God calls you to. And one of the coolest ways to kind of figure out what it could be is what are things that you love to see? What are things that you love to do? But also, what are things that you hate to see? Because oftentimes we are the answer to the problems that are happening in the world.
mm,
So even if you may not be attracted to, let's say, religion or Christianity or the church, minister in whatever way that you can, in your acts, in the way that you speak to others, in the way that you interact with others. And in the same way that you have your friendships with your best friend, your bestie, your circle, you consistently put in work into that. You
mm.
speak to them consistently. You hang out with them so you can build that relationship. So if you're looking to build a relationship with Jesus Christ, talk to him. And again, prayer is not just falling on your knees.
Right.
Prayer could literally just be you saying, God, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. Help. That could literally be it. It could be you writing in a journal. Speak and communicate in whichever way works for you. Everyone is different. And the beautiful thing about God is he understands all languages. He
Mm.
understands all love languages. He understands all acts of service. So
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's all we got to hear, and that's all we need to hear today, at least for today. I'm so thankful that you were able to come on the show today and they're able to share your story and your experience, and that you allowed yourself to be used at this moment, that God would actually change many lives through your experience, through what you have done, and the things that He continually to do in your life. I'm so thankful for your family too. I can't wait to meet your dad and your mom, to say hello to them and to see how much they have really done for you in ministries. It's so much wonderful to see all of that. And I know that with the work that you're involved in, and with all the other young people out there who are listening and trying to get something out of this, I am hoping and praying that they will know that with God, all things are possible. And so I'm very thankful for you. I know that we are done. I don't really want to end the show, but I got to end it. But I'm very thankful for you. So, do you have any shout out? I want to give you a chance to give a shout out to someone out there today.
shout out to everyone. Honestly, shout out to everyone. Um, Not necessarily just those related to me, but just shout out to you for making it this far. Shout out to you for consistently just waking up. And even though it gets hard, for trying, keep trying. One more thing I do want to say is there was a comment earlier that was made about someone not knowing that people as like my age go through certain things.
Mhm.
Understands that oftentimes we're all going through situations. We're all going through something. It's just that we don't have that space to talk to anyone about it.
Right.
If there's anyone that is looking for someone to speak to, find a community, reach out to me. I will connect you with whoever I know. Create a small group, but just make those spaces where you are comfortable enough to just share your experiences, share your testimonies, and share your story.
Yeah. One thing that I'm taking out from you said so many things. They're all great. They're all amazing, and I love all of them. The one thing that I took is when you're facing challenges, don't run to social media. Run and go on your knees and speak to God, and that's where the solution can be found. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming in today, and I pray that God will continue to bless your ministry and continue to empower you. Thank you for coming in. And for those of you who are listening to us today, I really want to say thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you. And my shout out to all of you, as Dennalia said. We love you all. And we thank you so much for always supporting us. Pastor Sean, you spend the day with us. And I know many, many people that I don't know actually listen to us today. And I know many people are also going to watch it after today. And for all our listeners who are all over the world, we are grateful for your time and continue to be with us on the show. What's the point? Every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And I know that God will continue to bless you. And enjoy your evening or your morning or your afternoon. We are out.